Everybody ready? All right. Let me ask you to take your seats. I'll call to order the Apex Town Council meeting, the regularly scheduled meeting for December 5th, 2017. And at this time, I'd like to recognize the Apex Ambassador, Mr. J.C. Knowles, for our invocation, and he will also lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise. Oh, Heavenly Father, as we gather here this evening, we pray that the words of our mouth and the meditation of our hearts would be acceptable in Thy sight. Guide and direct us, O Heavenly Father, and we thank You for Your love and Your mercy. And we pray for our men and women in harm's way throughout the world. Guide and direct them and their families they've left behind. Forgive us of our sins and shortcomings.
Yes, Father.
And help move us to a greater future as we prepare for this great town of ours. In Your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. We'll take up an election now.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. I appreciate all you've done for the town. Hope you will continue to do so for many years to come. At this time, before we move into the presentations, I'd just like to quickly recognize, oftentimes at a swearing-in meeting, we have elected officials will come to the meeting, so I'd like to first recognize Mayor Keith Weatherly, former mayor of Apex. Councilmember Mike Jones. And Wake County Commissioner and now Chair, Jessica Holmes. And is there anybody I missed? Feel free to raise your hand. Okay, good. I just want to make sure we got everybody. We move to the first presentation. This is a proclamation for Arbor Day, which I will read. And at this time, before I read this, David Wood, where are you? Okay, and do you have any of the members of the Tree Citizen Advisory Panel here tonight?
I don't think so.
Okay, all right. We did invite them, so there were some that, but we do have a Tree Citizen Advisory Panel that helps advise us on matters, and they speak to the Environmental Committee, which also serves as the tree board for the town. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heat and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife, and whereas trees in our town increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community, and whereas the Town Council of Apex and the Tree Citizen Advisory Panel will commemorate Arbor Day by planting a tree at the Apex Town campus on December 13, 2017. Now therefore, I, Lance Olive, Mayor of the Town of Apex, do hereby proclaim December 13, 2017 as Arbor Day in the Town of Apex, and urge all citizens to celebrate our Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And I hereby set my hand and cause this seal of the Town of Apex, North Carolina, to be affixed this 5th day of December 2017. And I will sign this now. And here's the proclamation. David, do you want to come up and accept that? Come on up. I think that would be appropriate. Very good. All right, thanks. And this time we get to the consent agenda. This is the part of the meeting where we consider multiple things that are typically routine, and those things are often non-controversial, so we enact them typically in a single motion and a single vote. Any council member, if they so choose, can pull an item from consent for later discussion, and so at this time, I'll ask if there is a council member that wishes to make a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And Mr. Mayor, could that motion include the amended consent number 4?
Yes. So let's, thank you for pointing that out, Mr. Town Manager. Consent number 4 does have a date change. As you can see, the date is corrected to December 19th on the piece of paper you have in front of you. And new business item number 1 was, sorry, that's later. So that's the only consent item. Okay.
My motion reflects the change.
Okay, thank you. And the second accepted?
Second.
All right, thank you. Any discussion on the motion to approve the consent agenda? Absent any discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, the consent agenda is passed. We now move into our regular meeting agenda setting. To my knowledge, there's nothing that needs to be changed in the meeting agenda. Does anyone have anything they wish to comment on, or is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
And I'll second.
All right, any discussion on the motion to approve the agenda? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, the agenda is set. We now move to public forum. As is the case, we have public forum on the first meeting of every month. So at this time, I'll refer to my sign-in sheet. Mr. Steve Swamp, you are first. Come forward.
You're not going to tell them what it is that I'm talking about?
Myself, it says. It
No,
looks
that's
like.
what I'm speaking, representing the
Nothing in
general.
general.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's part of your 3 minutes.
You have a low bar to achieve.
So anyway, this is off top of my head. You know, we've obviously me and all of the people of West Winds have spent a lot of time in front of you, and I'm sure we've caused enough consternation and a few procedural changes through our work. But I just wanted to come up here first, you know, since we're moving further down the line, and obviously it's not done yet, and I'm sure you'll hear more about it from me in the future. But I did want to just stop while everybody is still here and just say thank you to all of you for all that you've done. While I haven't necessarily agreed with every one of you, I did gain a measure of respect for all of you through the process. And tonight being Mr. Schultz and Ms. Wilkie's last night, I did want to come here and especially say thanks to them. I really appreciate the effort that you made, and the town, I think, is better for having you here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Swamp. Mr. Blatchford knows the applause. That's good. Mr. Ambassador, did you want to say something while the public forum is open?
Mr. Mayor and member of the council, I'm J.C. Knowles, your ambassador, and I'd like to take this opportunity in behalf of the citizens of Apex to thank Councilman Schultz and Councilwoman Wilkie for their devotion and attention to the duties as you have served this council and the citizens of Apex. We realize that it was through your efforts, along with the entire town council and citizens, that we became the #1 small town in America to live. And it's through those efforts, as you two have given us these last few years, and we are grateful to you, and we thank you sincerely for it. Whatever your future endeavors may be, go with our love, go with our best wishes, and Godspeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. J.C., because he doesn't let me call him Mr. Knowles. Having concluded the public forum list, we are now closing public forum, and we now move to the time of public hearings. In the agenda, if you happen to grab one, you probably noticed that there are 3 items that all will need to be continued. So without talking too much about this, I'll just ask a council member to make a motion to re-advertise and continue this item for December 19th. Public hearing number 1, that is.
So moved.
All right, do I have a second?
A second.
All right, we have a motion, a second. Any discussion? All right, no discussion. All in favor of continuing this to December 19th, indicate by...
I'm sorry, if we could qualify that, what we really need to do
Re-advertise.
is to reset the public hearing.
Reset the public hearing?
Mhm.
Okay, so let me make sure, okay to accept
Okay.
the reset the public hearing as the phrasing?
For all three
All right.
of these.
All right, thank you. So all in favor of resetting the public hearing to be December 19th, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, that motion passes unanimously. We now move to public hearing number 2. Same question.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of resetting the public hearing to December 19th for this item, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that passes unanimous. And public hearing number 3, same question.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor of resetting the public hearing for this item to December 19th, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, that passes unanimously. That concludes our public hearing, and we now look at old business, unfinished business, closed sessions. As you can see, there are no items. We continue to move down to the work session where there is none, but we will now have a short recess, and then when we reconvene, we will have the conclusion of the organizational meeting tonight. All right. Please bear with us while we have a brief recess.
You know, laws that are negative. I had a conversation and spelling again and spelling my name because he misspelled my name. Yeah.
So you got all this stuff for years?
Yeah, but I can see how it tracks through the whole, how they were making money. I mean, some of the,
So, they reconvene out of the case.
what do we do?
You'll need to then take
I ended up with something it may not make everybody ecstatic, but it's going to be a good picture. So, and we can, not to share it with anybody yet, so you'll catch it when everybody does. But I'm okay at the way it was. Yeah, that's all right. I was working on it even last night. I was making tweaks. Yeah, what I'm trying to do is get fair. Everybody gets it. Thanks, I appreciate it. Did you want me to take that phone and just sign? Because I can sign it right now while I'm standing here, since I'm on recess.
I tried, but she and I tried it at the same time. So we said it. Yeah, we've been working. So proud.
What about this?
How about yourself? What you
I have Jan Smith, hey, make it round up that first line. Make it
Oh, yeah, that's
You can do that? Called it too much trouble.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in the problem,
Well, the good thing is, thank you. I agree.
Next thing
All right, y'all ready?
No.
Yeah.
That wasn't exactly 10 minutes.
No, but it's close enough.
I just messing with you. I'm just trying to think about.
Tuesday or just for, Easter.
I'll go.
She's a senior,
Thank you.
she's graduating May.
Right
Email account, that'll be live for a while, right?
I thought I was coming in.
I'm good at that. Yeah. I should give you that now.
You don't have to.
Okay, I need to know where it is. It's in here somewhere. Alright, okay. The official little souvenir.
The official 100 year, okay,
No.
Yeah, right. You know, Mark. We were here. You look at this.
When you guys had to go through all this, I had to trying to think of a couple of things.
So at this time, we now enter into our time of organization. This happens after each election, usually within a month of the election. This is a time where we've finished and concluded the business, and we now begin. So you should have the agenda in front of you in case you want to follow along. This time, I'd like to start by recognizing our outgoing council members, beginning with Councilmember Schultz. So, Councilmember Schultz, have this nice plaque for you. You've earned it. You've been here for 16 years, serving the town of Apex, and we just thank you very much here.
Thank you very much.
don't mind, Mayor, I'd like to say a few words.
Please do.
I hope I get through this. While I'm saying everything out from the bottom of my heart, I'm going to be thinking about baseball stats in the back of my mind, so I keep it together. That's what men do. All right, 16 years on the council, it's been awesome. I just can't begin to describe my experience on the council. It's been fabulous, and I wouldn't be here without a lot of people in my life, and I'd like to just mention a few that have helped me get here. Number one, I'd like to thank my supporters, friends, and neighbors. Throughout the years, they've always been there for me. Just some I'd like to mention, like John and Karen Beasy. They've been family friends for many years now. Actually, since the first day we moved to our house in Apex, they lived across the street, and they came over and introduced themselves, and we've been close friends ever since, even took a cruise together. So thank you, John and Karen, for your support. I also want to thank Mayor Keith Weatherly in the back there. He's been my mentor. He came up to me years and years ago and offered to have me serve on some board. I think it was a Board of Adjustment in the town of Apex, and I served on that and other boards. And I've kind of just worked my way through the ranks, and I owe it all to Keith. He's been my mentor. He was the mayor for 16 years, and most of it was to lead up to the town being named Apex as #1 in the country. So I want to thank recognize him for his efforts in that regard. I see Mike Sayers there. I see Mike Jones there. All these supporters. J.C. Knowles has been wonderful, and I just can't thank you guys enough. Trying to think if I missed anybody. I don't think so. I also want to thank the town staff. I worked very closely with both Drew and Bruce as town managers. I can tell the citizens of Apex that you are under a good membership here. The town staff works very hard for everybody in the town of Apex, and we're lucky to have every single one of them. I also want to thank all the prior town councils. So it seems like I've been on here for 16 years now, and every new set of council members we have are kind of they took Apex to the next level. And so I want to thank all the former mayors, the former council members. They've all worked hard, and acknowledge Mike Jones again. He was there 16 years too, I believe, right? On the council? 22. Oh, jeez. A funny story is when I first got on the council, I think maybe you were on 16, and I'm like, Mike Jones, get a life. Really? 16 years, really? Here I am. So, and again, the town employees, I can't say enough good things about the hard work of town employees that we have, especially planning, also police, fire, and EMS, Parks and Rec. Everybody just works so hard for the town. And a lot of people in town, often take the town employees for granted, in a sense. They expect their lights to come on, water to come out of the faucet and all that. And I'm telling you, it's not an easy job. It takes a lot of work by a lot of people. So if anybody out there who thinks that it just happens automatically, I'm here to set the record straight. There's a lot of work behind that. So thank you. Lastly, I want to thank my family. My parents, excuse me, my parents, Gene and Eileen Scholes, could you raise your hands? Thank you. Thanks for everything you've done for me over the years. I love you very much. I have 3 daughters. My oldest daughter is able to be here with me tonight, Christine. My other 2 daughters are taking finals in Wilmington right now, so they weren't able to make it. Lastly, I want to thank my wife, who's really done the most for me of anybody. I spent 16 years on the council. She was at home with the kids, helping them with homework, taking them to swim meets, making sure they got to where they needed to be. And I wouldn't be half the man I am without her, frankly. And I appreciate it very much, Karen. Raise your hand, too, if you would. So that's my thanks. I do serve on the council. I've met a lot of great people in the town of Apex. I mean, Apex is a special place like no other in the country, really. And I've been a lot of places. It's been a great place. biggest achievement is being named #1 small town, and that's really, I attribute that to the community of Apex. The people here are just outstanding, and everybody puts their heart and soul into the town, and it makes a difference, and it shows. So, I won't say anything more, but I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank the current council, too. I want to thank you, Mayor Lance Olive, Denise Wilkie, excuse me, Nicole Dozier, Wes, and Bill. And I want to thank you all. It's been really a joy working with all of you, and I look forward to seeing great things come out of in the future from you. So, thank you. That's all I have to say. I appreciate everybody's support. Thank you. Years I deserve to do this. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wes, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Nicole, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I was debating whether or not we need another recess, but that was great. That was certainly moving, and I appreciate that. At this time also, I'd like to recognize the service of Council Member Denise Wilkie.
Do I get to speak?
Yes.
Is it
You have the floor.
required? Is it required to speak?
3 minutes.
Well, I can do it in 2, okay. Unlike Mr. Schultz, I've only been here 4 years, and 4 years is enough for me, and and I'm moving on to bigger things in another town. So I first of all, really want to thank the citizens of Apex for giving me the privilege of being able to serve and being able to be in this seat and to work with all of you. It's just been a phenomenal experience, and the people I've met have just been outstanding. So thank you to citizens of Apex. Second group is obviously the staff of the town staff. You people just don't know what a wonderful staff you have here, and these people are, like Mr. Schultz said, are always ready at your beck and call. Drew Havens has been a godsend to me on this council and to the town, and I really appreciate all that he's done. I appreciate him keeping me on task during these meetings. If y'all know me very well, you know that's a tough job, and he's done it. So thank you, Drew, for making me stay in line here. I appreciate it so much. The town staff and all the different departments, like I said, they just do a great job, and they really care about the people of Apex, and they want to do what's right for the people of Apex, and I really appreciate it. One group that I have to talk about are also the boards, the people that serve on the planning board and the Board of Adjustment and the Parks and Rec board. They do that without getting paid. That's all voluntary, and I tell you what, they make my job a lot easier because I can see through their guidance what needs to happen and what they're doing. They vet all the things out beforehand. I have to give a shout out to the Parks and Rec, John Brown. I'm his biggest fan. We talk about that. I'm the president of the fan club, so if y'all want to enlist in that, see me afterwards. I'm the president. I also have another fan, I'm a fan of another person, is Chuck Gilbert over there, and working in hand with the Parks and Rec department, getting that skate park built was an accomplishment that I feel I will always cherish, and I really appreciate both groups coming together. There's a person here tonight that I was hoping to give a special appreciation to is Greg Coley. If you all know Greg, he's named Citizen of the Year, and he was the chair of the Parks and Rec department for years and really made a big difference in getting the parks bond passed. So I really am looking forward to Pleasant Park being built, the senior center, and those greenways being completed. Y'all better invite me back. Wherever I am, y'all better invite me back so I can be there for the ribbon cutting. Put that, somebody, Don, that has to be in the minutes, okay? You have to invite me back. And then, besides the staff and all the different people that work for the town, I have to give thanks and appreciation to my family. My daughter Caitlin is here tonight, and she is took time out of her work and planning her wedding to be here to support me tonight, and I really appreciate it. And I appreciate her so many times when I had to say to her, I can't do that, I'm going to town council, or I have this event I have to be at, so, I appreciate her understanding, because, over the past 4 years, that's happened quite a bit. My other daughter's in New York City, and I guess it was too big of a city to come back to see Mom here. Apex, New York City, I don't know. And then, everybody in this room knows the person that is my rock. And, Rick Wilkie has been there for me for many, many years, and when I was debating whether or not to run for council, and I was like, I'm not doing that, I don't know what to do or whatever, Rick said, just go file, you want to do it. And so he said, I will be behind you 100%. And let me tell you, that man has been behind me 150%. So people know we're a team. Jock Gilbert knew us when we first started dating, and we knew it was going to work. We had Jock's blessing, that's all we needed. But, he is my rock and my supporter, and like I said, if you want to find Rick, don't look too far away from me, because that's where he will always be, and I will be with him. So thank you again, Town of Apex, and current town council. All of y'all have have a special place in my heart, and I really appreciate all that y'all have done. And thank you. I get to start down here with the most important work.
Absolutely.
That's right. We'll let them stand it up.
Keep them straight.
Well, that was good, and now we get to the time of administering the oaths. So first up, we have Nicole Dozier has won re-election to her seat. Congratulations. And administering the oath will be our town clerk, Donna Hosh.
Ms. Dozier, if you put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I, Nicole L. Dozier,
I, Nicole L. Dozier,
do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain
do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
as council member for the town of Apex, North Carolina.
as council member for the town of Apex, North Carolina.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I, Nicole L. Dozier,
I, Nicole L. Dozier,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina,
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
and the constitutional powers and authorities
which are or may be established for the government thereof,
which are or may be established for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor to support,
and I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend
maintain, and defend
the Constitution of said state,
the Constitution of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
so help me God.
So help me God. Congratulations.
And I wonder if, Ms. Dozier, if you'd like to introduce your family members that were with you and say anything?
Oh, sure. So, I'll start with my mother, Hilda Lee. My father couldn't make it this evening. My husband, James, my daughter, Krista, my son's in college, also taking an exam. So, yeah, when I was elected back in 2013, I thought, oh, I don't have to speak anymore, no more of these stump speeches. And then Mr. Schultz spoke, and so I'm following him now and going ahead and saying some things here. But I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And so many of you are so engaged with this town. That's why it makes it so exciting to live here and to serve here. Thank you to my supporters, new and old. Thank you for friends, new and old. I have friends who are like family to me, and we already mentioned some elected officials here that Jean mentioned. I want to also mention Commissioner Holmes, who represents part of our town as well, and then Mr. T.J. Cawley, who's mayor-elect, I think, at this point, too, to say hello to you all, too. Thank you for being here. On election morning, one of my friends actually called me and said, I don't know, Nicole, should I pray that you win and continue to serve in this role and do all the things you have to do in municipal government? Or do I pray that, maybe you don't, you retire your seat and you get to see your family again? And so that, that's sort of the people that I'm around, just great people with great sense of humor. So with that, I have to thank my family. James was my super volunteer, my campaign manager. I think he went to as many things more maybe than I did, so I want to thank him especially. But this is a great town to be serving in, and like I said, if I don't know you, I'd love to meet you this evening, and I think this is a great position we're in. We've got people with great experience, people with new ideas, not as much experience, but the thing is, we've got a mayor with a big hat and a big heart, and people with big ideas and big hearts, and we love this town, and so I thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to serve, so I'm thankful to you and thank God for you.
Now, Audra Killingsworth also won election on a seat. And so, as she's coming up, Judge Hamadani is going to issue the oath of office. And Audra, if you want to introduce who's with you now, that would be a good time. And then you can say something after.
Sure. This is my husband, Matt Killingworth, and he certainly has been there and helped me quite a lot through all of this, and greatly appreciate everything that he's done. I've got my 4 kids here with me as well. Moria, I've got Liana, Owen, and Alyssa, and many friends, all just new here. I greatly appreciate that.
All right, let's go into the please place your left hand on the Constitution, raise your right, please. I, Audra Killingworth. Do solemnly affirm. That I will support and maintain the Constitution. And the laws of the United States. And the Constitution and laws. Of North Carolina. Not inconsistent therewith. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office. As council member for the town of Apex, North Carolina. I, Audra Killingworth. Do solemnly and sincerely affirm. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. That I will be faithful. And bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina. And to the constitutional powers and authorities. Which are or may be established for the government thereof. And that I will endeavor. To support. Maintain. And defend the Constitution of said state. Not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States. To the best of my knowledge and ability. Congratulations.
If you want to come on down here, it's probably fine.
You're leaving me, Wes?
Well, Wes is going to be here, then Gene. Good luck. Did you hear the cameras going?
Poor Brad. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, poor Brad. I know.
Come on now.
No, I didn't know where to go.
There we go. Yep. So, there's no shame sitting next to the town manager. In fact, I had that privilege for 4 years, and it can be very beneficial.
I did too.
Yeah, at this time, I'd like to also recognize Brett Gant, who won a seat on the council as well. And I guess I should say, Brett asked me to do the oath, so I'm going to come up and do that now. And while I'm coming, why don't you introduce?
During the campaign, when I was doing these Trump speeches, I forgot to mention Allison almost every time. You're getting now, thanks for it already. Allison, we've been dating since we were 16, we're high school sweethearts. We we grew up in Asheville, North Carolina, and then have made our home here in Apex, and so we've kind of been on the same journey together for a long time. And I have some neighbors and friends. That's all.
All right, great. Allison, Allison, hold the Bible. You put your left hand on the Bible. Okay. Raise your right. You doing that right, Ms. Clerk?
Yes.
There we go. I want to make sure it's got to be legal. I, Brett D. Gant.
I, Brett D. Gant.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support and maintain.
That I will support and maintain.
The Constitution and laws of the United States.
The Constitution and laws of the United States.
And the Constitution and laws of North Carolina.
And the Constitution and laws of North Carolina.
Not inconsistent therewith.
Not inconsistent therewith.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office.
And I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office.
As council member for the town of Apex.
As council member for the town of Apex.
In North Carolina, so help me God.
In North Carolina, so help me God.
I, Brett D. Gant.
I, Brett D. Gant.
Do solemnly and sincerely swear.
Do solemnly and sincerely swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will be faithful and bear true allegiance.
That I will be faithful and bear true allegiance.
To the state of North Carolina.
To the state of North Carolina.
And to the constitutional powers.
And to the constitutional powers.
And authorities which are.
And authorities which are.
Or may be established.
Or may be established.
For the government thereof.
For the government thereof.
And that I will endeavor to support.
And that I will endeavor to support.
And maintain and defend.
And maintain and defend.
The Constitution of said state.
The Constitution of said state.
Not inconsistent.
Not inconsistent.
With the Constitution of the United States.
With the Constitution of the United States.
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
To the best of my knowledge and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So at this time, I'd like to welcome our new council. Let's give them all a hand, shall we? So at this time, now that we have a new council and we are convened, I open the floor for nominations for Mayor Pro Tempore. Before I take nominations, just a real brief description. The Mayor Pro Tempore is the mayor for a short time. That's literally what it means. That role is there to fulfill the role of mayor should the mayor not be available or able to fulfill his role either for a very brief time or an extended time as the council may see fit. So with that description involved, and I say the council does select the Mayor Pro Tem from among themselves, I open the floor for nominations.
Mayor, I would like to nominate Nicole Dozier for Mayor Pro Tem. She has done a wonderful job in the last 2 years as Mayor Pro Tem. She has the business cards already made up.
You're saying you're saving
so we can save the town some money.
All right, thank you. That nomination has been recognized. Do you accept the nomination, Ms. Dozier?
Or should we let him accept like he did last time for me?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
If that's the will of my colleagues, sure.
All right, so we have a nomination, and that nominee has accepted. Are there any other nominations? Not hearing any other nominations, I close the floor for nominations. Without a vote, we declare there is only one nominee, and so by acclamation, we have a Mayor Pro Tem Dozier for another 2 years at least. Congratulations. Very happy to have Nicole Dozier serving as Mayor Pro Tem. She does a fine job, and she is a good ambassador for the town of Apex in her role. I appreciate her. As we now move to the appointments to the standing committees and liaisons, I will refer to my notes here, and feel free to follow along. I will make a minor change up. Rather than going committee by committee, my intention is to refer to each individual and to what assignments they will have. So that will make it easier for you to know what you're going to be asked to do. So for Councilman Jensen, I'd like for Councilman Jensen to chair the Planning Committee, recognizing that we are moving into the Advanced Apex, also known as the 2045 planning. We move into that. Additionally, the Economic Development Committee, where he has been serving, I'd like for him to also chair that committee. As a third role, as an alternate for CAMPO, the North Carolina Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, which is a mouthful, but that's basically where we plan roads that extend beyond just our town, but into other areas in the county and even beyond. So that's Councilman Jensen. Mayor Pro Tem Dozier, I'd like for you to chair the Environmental Committee, as you have done in the past. And also, the Personnel Committee, I'd like for you to chair that as well, please. I'd also like for you to serve as the alternate liaison to the Apex Chamber of Commerce. So for those of you who don't know, perhaps an alternate is there in case someone can't make it. You know, we want someone to be there. We want representation rather than an empty chair. That's how important the liaisons are. Now we move to Councilman Moyer. So Councilman Moyer, I'd like for you to continue to chair the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Committee. I'd like for you also to serve as the second member on the Personnel Committee. And I'd like for you to continue what you're doing now as the liaison to the Apex Downtown Business Association. And Councilman Gant. How's that sound? Councilman Gant.
Sounds great.
I'd like for you to serve as the second member on the Planning Committee. And I'd also like for you to serve as the second member on the Environmental Committee. And I'd like for you to be our membership delegate primary to the Triangle J. And Councilwoman Killingsworth, or council member, whichever you prefer, you can let me know. I'd like for you to be second member of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Committee, and also second member of the Finance Committee. I'd like for you to also serve as an alternate liaison for the Apex Downtown Business Association, and you're the only person, but an alternate as well to Triangle J. And that leaves myself. I plan to be a member of the Economic Development Committee. I also plan to chair the Finance Committee, and I will be the Apex Chamber of Commerce primary liaison, as I have been serving the past year, and I will continue to also be the CAMPO liaison. And those are the appointments I have for the council, and I appreciate everyone being willing to work and serve. Every role is important. The importance of committees is to make sure that work that may need a little deeper dive is done with staff, with 2 members of the council. 2 cannot make a decision for the entire council, which is why that's such a good number. but also 2 is a good number for a good discussion and a good debate. And sometimes you find that you are of like mind quickly, and sometimes you find that it takes a little time to get there, and sometimes you may not get there, and that's okay. Those are all valid scenarios. The liaisons are important because these groups are groups that we've deemed important enough to send someone from this council to represent Apex at that location. We expect of any liaison to carry the message from the town, what's happening, current events, and also to bring back information when that's relevant. So those are the purposes of our committees and liaisons, and I thank you all for being willing to serve and look forward to the next 2 years. As always, if you find that a certain scenario is not working out, I'm willing to have a conversation with it, and we can work out a change midstream as we have done so in the past. All right? Thank you. With that, now we move to the one new business item. So this gets a little bit of exercise for our town council. It's kind of a softball. So let's turn it over to the town manager, who will talk about our calendar of appointments. The reason this was held is because this council has to keep this calendar. So we want to make sure this council was the one that approved it. Mr. Town Manager.
So the council that has just now retired, on their consent agenda was a change in our ordinance which requires the council at its organizational meeting to adopt a 2-year calendar of meetings. Council, you have that in front of you. It includes all of calendar year 18 and 19. It also includes setting the meeting for December 19th of this year, assuming that you want to have that one. You do need to have that one. There's not substantial deviation from the normal first and third Tuesday shown in these 2 calendars before you, the 2018 and 2019 calendars, and we're just asking you to consider adoption. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions for can somebody turn the volume down?
They're on.
Okay. Can someone, does anyone have any questions for the town manager?
First Tuesday in July would be July 3rd.
Yes, sir.
We plan to, I know, well, at least the last 2 years, I think that first meeting right there around July 4th, we have not had, am I looking at this correctly? We plan to have that meeting?
The practice has been to cancel the first meeting in July. And that's my fault, Eric. I had my microphone off. Thank you. It's been to cancel the first meeting in July. We did not want to presume as staff that council wanted to do that. But council, if you wish to right now cancel the first meeting in July for 18 and 19, and then if we need to have that meeting, the council can call for a special meeting.
I would prefer that.
That'd be fine. As long as it's Stephanie.
Certainly on the 2018, but 19 is, we could cancel it, I guess, but the 4th is on a Thursday. That's off a bit, but it's council's pleasure. I'm good either way. I certainly think we should cancel the one on 2018. That's not a good fit.
Any other thoughts from council members on canceling the, well, did you have a thought? Because I thought you mentioned this to me once before. You're welcome.
Yes, I have pretty much liked having that, a day off for the staff, you know, who especially have to prepare for the meetings. And I like to take that time off from my job, so I would like to give that as a gift to staff. If that doesn't create a hardship for staff to cancel that, I would like to do that.
All right.
For both years?
For both years, yeah. Okay. Let me have a whole week off.
Mayor,
Whole week off.
About 1 January of 2019, the 1st of January is a Tuesday. Are we moving that meeting to Wednesday the 2nd? Is that?
Yes, sir. So the circle around the 2nd shows the deviation from the normal first and third Tuesday. So that meeting would be held on Wednesday the 2nd. And also in November, your normal meeting would be held on November 5th in 2019. That's a day of a local election. And that circle around Wednesday the 6th shows the deviation. That would be the meeting date in November of 2019 would be on the 6th.
Can we, Mayor, cancel that meeting the first week of January in 2019 and schedule necessary meeting if we need to?
I'm sorry. I had a sidebar, sorry. Can you ask the question again?
The first meeting in January of 2019, can we cancel that meeting, and schedule a special meeting that week if we need to?
Of 2019?
The January 2019 meeting.
How about if I answer that in the form of a question to the town manager? Is it easier for staff to have a meeting on the calendar and then canceled, or is it easier for there to be a canceled meeting and then for us to have a meeting called because we have business we need to address?
It's easier for us to know well in advance what the calendar's gonna be, so if you wanna remove that one and have a special meeting, we can do that. We can plan the workflow, adequately. Just realize that as you cancel meetings, that means the other meeting that month or the one right before it, sometimes we'll have to be doubling up your work, but we'll manage the workflow the best we can.
Do you have a preference or recommendation?
Want to move it to the next day?
To the Thursday that week, the 4th? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm asking, do you want to move it instead of remove it?
Not yet. We could move it. I just worry about it being right there close to the first. The first is a holiday.
Yeah, we can move it to a Thursday, and that way we're not doubling up stuff. I don't have a life, I don't care.
So if I could summarize what I've heard so far is for the 2 July 4th week meetings, that the council generally wants that meeting canceled. And for staff to work around that. And knowing well in advance gives plenty of time to do that. And for the January 2nd, 2019, for that to be, for that first meeting of January to be held on January 3rd, which is a Thursday.
That'd be better.
Just to create a little space from the first. Any objection from the council?
Well, it's also an issue potentially for 2018 as well, right?
Correct.
If you're gonna, the January one, that's a similar situation. I don't know. It's pretty soon though, maybe that's the consideration.
Move that to the 4th also.
We have an advertising for the first,
One question we will ask staff is that meeting is only 4 weeks away.
Yeah.
So let's see if there are any side effects, unintended consequences.
I don't think we've advertised anything yet for that.
There's nothing been advertised. The applicants have been told there's a meeting that day, so we'll have to contact all of them to let them know it's changed, but it's not, there shouldn't be
And it's
anything
4 weeks.
advertised.
4 weeks out, I think that would be considered to be adequate notice. Okay, if the council wishes, we could apply that same principle to 2018 and move the meeting to the 3rd of January, which also gives a buffer day. All right, let me put it in the form of this. Are there any objections to approving the calendar with the July 4th weeks canceled and the 2 first meetings of January moved to January the 3rd of their respective years? I think that's what we just agreed to generally, but I want to make sure. Are there any objections? Okay. Not hearing any objections, I can certainly take that as the will of the council, but if you'd like a motion to make it formal, I'll ask for a motion to approve the calendar with those amendments.
I think a new member should make the motion.
Who's that?
The new members.
Oh, new members.
I make a motion to adjust the dates as discussed.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
All right, we have a second. I'll get my hand
Clarification on the motion is to adjust the dates and approve the calendars.
Adjust the dates and approve the calendars. Yes.
Cool, that's exactly what I heard.
Yes. All right. Any discussion on that motion to adjust the dates and approve the calendars for the next 2 years? Not hearing any, I'll call for the vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, that motion passes. The calendar has been approved. Staff will publish that on the website for the public consumption within a few weeks, maybe less. Depends on the speed of government.
Move that.
And One last piece of administration that we need to do, that I overlooked, and I apologize, but the Mayor Pro Tem, even though she was sworn into her council seat, she needs to also be sworn in as Mayor Pro Tem. So we will do that now with the town clerk administering.
Okay. I, Nicole L. Dozier,
I, Nicole L. Dozier,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as Mayor Pro Tempore
as Mayor Pro Tempore
for the town of Apex, North Carolina.
for the town of Apex, North Carolina.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I, Nicole L. Dozier,
I, Nicole L. Dozier,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States,
and that I will be faithful
and I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of North
to
Carolina
the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
and the constitutional powers and authorities
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor to support,
and I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend
maintain, and defend
the Constitution of said state,
the Constitution of said state,
not inconsistent
not inconsistent
with the Constitution of the United States,
with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
so help me God.
So help me God. Thank you.
All right, that concludes all of our planned business. Let me see if there's any council member who feels like there's a reason we shouldn't adjourn now.
Don't look at me.
Not seeing any. I will declare that we have reached the end of the agenda, and we are adjourned. We invite everyone to join us in the lobby for refreshments. Thank you.